Hello friends, this is Hatim Rampurawala, and in this video we would be revising section 67 of the chapter Inspection, Search and Seizure and E-Way Bill. So we would be revising section 67, 68, not specifically 69, then 70, 71 and 72. 72 is also much a basic section. So we'll revise this 5 sections one by one. I will be covering this in each and every section in a separate video. Okay, so let's begin. Section 67, this is the most important section. Then section 71 is also important per se. 68 is important because it is in relation to the entire E-Way bill. E-Way bill separate video I will be making, but we will be just reading the section 68 text, and then we will cover E-Way bill in separate video. So let's begin with this section, that is section 67, power of inspection, search and seizure. It would be a little the text would be little appearing very small because but I can't help in this. Okay, so let's read and understand the section. Circumstances for carrying out the inspection. Just view this in little high resolution so that the text would be visible. If you are viewing it in a less resolution, then text might not be visible, you might not see the clear text. Okay, so let's start. Section 67, power of inspection, search and seizure. I had already wasted more than a minute. Let it be. Let's start. Circumstances for carrying out the inspection. What all are the circumstances under which the inspection can be carried out? First point, the action under this section is initiated when the proper officer, not below the rank of joint commissioner, has the reasons to believe. So for carrying out the inspection, the officer, that is officer not below the rank of JC, should have a reasons to believe that the taxable person has suppressed the following. That is, he has suppressed the following. What all he has suppressed? The transaction of the supply of any goods or the services, or both. Information relating to the stock in hand. So transaction of any supply, then information relating to stock in hand, that he has suppressed. Such information he has suppressed. Then claimed excess input tax credit, or has contravened any of the statutory provision with an intent to evade the tax. Okay, so first point was basically that he has reasons to believe that the taxable person has suppressed the following things. That is, the transaction of supply, information relating to the stock in hand, claimed excess input tax credit, or has contravened any provision. B point, any person engaged in the business of any transportation of any goods okay, so if he has reasons to believe, that is the person, the officer, proper officer not below the rank, JC, has reasons to believe that any person in the business of the transportation of any goods. The second point is in relation to, first point was in relation to the taxable person, that registered taxable person. Second point is in relation to the transportation of any goods, who is engaged in transportation. And third point is in relation to the owner or operator of warehouse. So we'll read second point. Any person engaged in the business of any transportation of any goods which have escaped the payment of tax, or has kept his account or the goods in the manner likely to cause tax evasion, whether or not he is a registered taxable person or not. Means whether or not he is a registered taxable person, but what he has done is the person who is engaged in the transportation business has escaped the payment of tax, or has kept his accounts or the goods in the manner which will cause tax evasion. He has kept his account in such a way which will cause tax evasion, or he has evaded the tax, he has escaped the payment of the tax. And the C point, that officer has the reasons to believe that any owner or the operator of any warehouse, owner or operator of the warehouse, or the godown, or any other place in storing goods which have, so the person, basically the owner or the operator of the warehouse, godown, or any other place in storing goods which have escaped, the same point it is repeated, then have escaped the payment of the tax, or has kept his account or the goods in the manner which is likely to cause the tax evasion, whether or not he is a registered taxable person. Okay, so the phrase reasons to believe has been interpreted by various courts, distinguishing it from the reasons to suspect. So reasons to suspect is like the officer is suspecting, that is he is presuming or assuming type, but over here in this case he should have a reasons to believe. Then proper officer during the search, power of the officer during the search under the circumstances mentioned above, where he believes that the taxable person has suppressed the tax, or the transporter of the goods, or the warehouse owner, or the operator has evaded the payment of the tax, or kept the accounts which will cause the evasion of the tax. If such a situation is there, then what all are the powers of the proper officer? So under the circumstances mentioned above, the proper officer not below the rank of joint commissioner can authorize another officer in writing. So that officer not below the rank of JC will authorize any another officer to do what? To inspect any place of any business of any taxable person who has evaded any tax, or the transporter of the goods, transporter who transported such tax evaded goods, or the godown, or the godown or warehouse, in which such tax evaded goods or the accounts relating thereto have been stored. Then first he will authorize him to inspect, then he will authorize such person, such officer, to search and seize, to seal or break open the doors. Will read, he will authorize him to search and seize the goods or the documents or the books or things which are liable for the confiscation, including anything concealed and which will be useful or relevant in the proceedings, which will be useful relevant in the proceedings under that. Basically he will give the power, authorize him to search and seize the goods, documents, books, things which are liable for confiscation. Then he will authorize him to seal or break open the door of any of the premises, storage box, electronic devices, or receptacle where the goods, books of accounts, etc. are concealed, and when access to the same is denied to the officer. When the access is denied, they have given the power of breaking that thing as well, boxes, premises, door, etc. Then if it is not practicable to seize the goods, see what they have given is, if it is not practicable to seize the goods, then the officer may serve an order on the owner of the or the custodian of the goods for removing the goods, for not removing the goods, or deal with such goods without the prior permission of the officer. So basically the officer not below the rank of JC, we will summarize this thing. What it has been given, that power of the officer not below the rank of JC, he can authorize the another officer in writing to inspect the place of any business of the taxable person, to search and seize the goods, documents, things, books which are liable for confiscation, seal, break open the door of any premises, storage box, electronic devices of which access has been denied to the officer. And if it is not practicable to seize the goods, then the officer may serve an order to the owner or the custodian of such goods for not removing part with dealt with such goods without the prior permission. Then return of the seized goods, books or things, the one which has been seized by the officer, so their return provision. The said officer shall return the documents, books, things seized or produced by the taxable person or the other officer on which no reliance has been placed. Okay, so the one documents on which reliance cannot be placed means they are not of useful to the officer, so they will return that goods. If it is not useful for the officer, what they will do keeping that stuff, such documents, books, things, so they will return on which the reliance cannot be placed. See what they are given is, on which no reliance has been placed for issuing notice, because after that they have to issue the notice under 73-74 by the proper, they will issue the proper officer will issue the notice. So on which reliance has not been placed will return within the period of 30 days from the issue of the notice. So from the date they have issued the notice, they will return it within the period of 30 days. However, the books, documents, things which are relied upon will be relied upon while issuing the notice will be retained. Means the one on which they have been kept their reliance, they will retain that till the entire investigation, inspection, all thing is over. Then the person from whose custody documents are seized is entitled to take the photocopy or extract of such documents in the presence of the GST officer at the place and the time as predetermined. Copies or extract may be denied if he is of the opinion that, he will allow also to take the photocopies or extract, and the officer can deny as well if he is of the opinion that such an act will prejudicially affect the investigation. Then release of the seized goods, provisional. So they are given 3 points. First is release, that is provisional release. What is the provisional release basis? Then actual release of the goods and disposal of the goods, when the officer can dispose the goods. So provisionally release, the goods so seized can be released on the provisional basis on the execution of the bond and furnishing of prescribed amount of security. So on first, so there are 2 points given in here. How it can be released on provisional basis, that is first on execution of the bond and furnishing a prescribed amount of security, or the payment, or on payment of any tax, interest and penalty. So either pay tax, interest, penalty, or execute a bond along with furnish the amount of security as well. Then release of the actual goods, the goods shall be released within 6 months and if required, see, we will read, means 6 months plus 6 month time has been given. So the seized goods shall be returned if no notice has been issued within 6 months of its seizure, or an extended period of another 6 months by the commissioner on the justified ground. So if no notice has been issued, so it has to be issued released within 6 months, and for issuing notice they require time. So after taking permission of the commissioner, then extend the time for the further 6 months on the justified ground. Then disposal of the goods, the officer can dispose on certain notified dispose of certain notified goods immediately after the seizure if those goods are of perishable or hazardous nature. So perishable nature, hazardous nature, or would depreciate in the value by the passage of the time, or there are constraint of the storage spaces, or any other relevant consideration as may be prescribed. So either if they are perishable or hazardous nature, or the value depreciates by the passage of the time, so there can be or it has been given that where there is a constraint of the storage space or any other relevant consideration as may be prescribed. So on that basis the officer can dispose of certain goods as well. Then other provisions, the officer can even seize the accounts register. So over in the beginning what we had studied is that of whose search seizure can be made, that is of the taxable person, of the transporter of the goods who has transported such exempt tax evaded goods, or the owner operator of the warehouse. But now they are given is they can seize accounts, registered documents of any person. See, they have given is any person in case he has reasons to believe that the said officer has evaded or is attempt to evade the taxes. So whether he has evaded the person has evaded the tax, or he is attempting to evade the tax. However, he has to record the reasons in writing and also shall grant a receipt of such a receipt. So before such seizure of the accounts, register or the documents, he has to record the reasons in writing and also grant a receipt of such a seizure, that we have seized your goods, records, documents. So receipt shall be issued, just a receipt thing. Then there is no time limit prescribed for such retention by the officer. No time limit for that when the goods will be returned. The commissioner or the officer authorized by him can authorize any person for the purchase of any goods. So this second point is in relation to just for checking that whether proper invoicing has been done, proper bill has been issued, there is no evasion while issuing bill and all. So what they will do is they will send an officer or a person, any person, to purchase the goods. So in that case he will give the supplier will transfer the goods, will issue the bill, invoice. Likewise, so they will check all system is proper or not. The commissioner or the officer authorized by him can authorize any person for the purchase of any goods, services, to check the issue of tax invoices, bill of supply, the goods so purchased by the goods so purchased. See, they have given here is goods so purchased. Note this point because it will be useful in later para. The goods so purchased by such a person through the appointed person, if returned, the taxable person from whom the goods were purchased shall refund the amount so paid. For instance, an officer has authorized a person to purchase the goods, to check all the system, billing system, receipt of the goods and all thing. Then what the officer will do or the other person will do of such goods, they will basically return the goods after checking all thing. So the supplier has to take back such goods. He cannot say no, that and now the goods cannot be returned. So the supplier has to take back the goods. If the goods return, the taxable person from whom such goods were purchased shall refund, and the supplier shall refund the amount so paid and cancel the tax invoice. There is no time limit prescribed for the return of the goods. It should be noted that this provision deals only with the return of the goods so purchased, and there is no provision of the return of the services so purchased. As I said in the second point, if they have written just the goods so purchased can be returned, and the supplier shall refund the amount as well. So it is in relation to goods, not in relation to the supply. Then procedure for conducting the search. Now this entire thing which we'll be going to read is in relation to the search operation, basically, that the person, first the authorized officer will the main officer will issue the search warrant to the subordinate officer. Not subordinate word is given, but to the next level of authority officer. Then he will the person, that is basically the person who is conducting the search, then that officer who is conducting the search will go to the premises where the search needs to be conducted, basically, and the entire procedure has been given. We'll read it once. Okay, see the procedure for conducting the search. Basic requirement to be observed during the search. Now entire search procedure has been given, this, and what all are the search content should be there. This is the point, this point is there, and safeguard provided for in respect of the search and seizure. What all are the safeguard provided? And then we are done with this section 68, sorry, section 67. So we'll read procedure for conducting the search. This is also an interesting what we can say concept in here. What is the search procedure? To ensure the provision of the search and the seizure are implemented in the proper and transparent manner, the act stipulates that the search and the seizure shall be carried out in accordance with the provision of the Criminal Procedure 1973. Section 100 of the Code of Civil Procedure describes the procedure for the search. 100 of the Code of Civil Procedure, not of the GST Act, describes the procedure of the search. So basic requirement to be observed during the search. The following principles should be observed during the search. First, no search of a premises should be carried out without a valid search warrant issued by the proper officer. So who will issue the search warrant? Proper officer will issue to the person who is conducting the search. So without that, search cannot be initiated. Second point, there should be invariably a lady officer accompanying the search team to the residence. So a lady officer should be accompanying that team of who are conducting the search. The officer, before starting the search, should disclose their identity by showing their identity cards to the person in charge of the premises. They have to disclose their identity cards before conducting the search. The search warrant, it is self-explanatory only. It's not much hard English been written in here, or a hard act language been written in here. Then the search warrant should be executed before the search warrant should be executed before the start. See, the search warrant should be executed before the start of the search by showing the same to the person in charge of the premises, and his signature should be taken on the body of the search warrant in token of having been seen the same. The signature of the two at least witnesses should be also taken on the body of the search. So we have to first execute the search warrant, that is show the search warrant to the person in charge before conducting the search. Then on that face of the search warrant, body of the face, that is body of the search warrant, we have to take the signature of the person in charge that he has seen the search warrant, and also along with that signature of the two witnesses on the body of the search warrant. Then see, fifth point, the search should be made in the presence of at least two independent witnesses of the locality. They should be. If no such inhabitant are available willing, the inhabitant of any of other locality should be asked to be witness to the search. The witness should be briefed about the purpose of the search. So the witness should be briefed in that for what purpose the search has been conducted. Then before the start of the search proceeding, the team of the officer conducting the search and accompanying the witnesses should offer themselves for their personal search. See, before the start of the search proceedings, the team of the officer conducting the search and accompanying witnesses should offer themselves for their personal search. So before starting of the search, they should be get themselves being searched by the person in charge of the premises being searched Okay, so they should get themselves searched by the person in charge. Similarly, after the completion of the search, all the officers and the witnesses should again search offer themselves for their personal search. Okay, then the Panchnama Mahazar of the proceedings of the it has been said as Panchnama as well and Mahazar of the proceeding of the search should necessarily be prepared on the spot. On spot, the officer will prepare this Panchnama thing. The list of all the goods documents recovered and seized detained should be prepared and annexed to the Panchnama. All the goods detained seized shall be annexed to the that Panchnama or Mahazar. The Panchnama Mahazar and the list of the goods, the two things, one is Panchnama thing should be prepared on spot, and the list of the goods documents seized all thing should the list of that should also be attached. So these two things of the list of the goods things seized should invariably be signed by the witnesses. So this Panchnama Mahazar and the list of the goods should be signed by the should be signed basically by the witnesses, person in charge, the owner of the premises before whom the search is conducted, and also by the officer duly authorized for conducting the search. So 4 persons will sign. First, the officer who is conducting the search, witnesses, person in charge, the owner of the premises on whom the search has been conducted. Then after the search is over, the search warrant duly executed, the one search warrant which was duly executed should be returned in original to the issuing officer, that is the proper officer who has issued the search warrant. Will the officer who is conducting the search will return such search warrant which has been executed to the proper officer again with a report regarding the outcome of the search. So he will return the search warrant who has issued the search warrant, and along with that he will issue the means he will give the report as well of the outcome of the search. The name of the officer who participated in the search may also be written on the reverse of the search warrant. See, on search warrant has been issued by the proper officer. On reverse of search warrant, the name of the officer who is conducting the search should be mentioned. Then the issuing authority of the search warrant, issuing authority, that is the proper officer, should maintain the register of the records of the search warrant issued and returned, and used search warrant should be kept in record. So basically should maintain the records of the used search warrant, the one which have been issued, the one search warrant which have been returned to him again. Okay, then the copy of the Panchnama Mahazar along with an annexure should be given to the person in charge. See, Panchnama Mahazar along with an goods along with an copy. See, a copy of Panchnama Mahazar along with an along with its annexure, that is the goods and all the things which have been detained, seized and all, to the person in charge, the owner of such a premises on whom the search being of the premises being searched, the owner of the goods, the owner of the premises on whom the search has been conducted, under the acknowledgement. So as an acknowledgement, they should give a copy of Panchnama Mahazar along with an annexure to a person in charge and the owner as well. Okay, now we'll see. So if to brief this 10 point in 10 point again, we'll see the procedure again. That is, I will quickly go through now, not read each and every point. See, basic requirement to be observed during the search. First, no search can be conducted without a search warrant. Then a lady officer should be accompanied. Then before starting of any search, they should show their identity cards to the person in charge. Then what they should do is, they should execute the search warrant to the person in charge, that is show the search warrant to the person in charge. Then they should take the signature of the person in charge and at least 2 witnesses as well. If the witnesses of the local, they should prefer the witness, 2 independent witnesses of the locality itself. But if they are not available, then they should ask the witnesses call the witnesses from the other locality as well, and they should specify them the purpose of such a search. Then before conducting the search and at the time of leaving as well, they should get themselves searched by the person in charge, that is the the officer who are conducting the search and the witnesses. Then the Panchnama Mahazar will be prepared on spot. Then a list of the documents which have been searched will be prepared, and the one copy of that will be given to the owner and the person in charge, which has been given in the 10th point. And now this all thing will be submitted after the search is over. Will be the search warrant which has been executed will be returned to the officer. What the officer has to do is maintain will return, and the name of this officer who has been conducted the search will be written on the reverse of the search warrant. The proper officer who is issuing the search warrant should, what we can say is, should maintain the records of the search warrant which have been issued, which have been returned, and the used search warrant should be kept in record, and the Panchnama Mahadar along with the annexure should also be given to the person in charge and the owner of the premises. So okay, well, we are done with summarizing this thing. Then the content of the search warrant and its content. The written authority to conduct. What is search warrant? Basically, a written authority to conduct the search is generally called as search warrant. The competent authority to issue the search warrant is an officer of the rank of joint commissioner or above. Basically, it should be a JC or an above what we can say, above level authority. JC or above officer should be of the rank JC or above, that is not below the JC basically. So not below JC, that is it should be a minimum JC officer should be a rank of JC or above. The search warrant must indicate the existence of the reasonable belief leading to the search. See, there should be a reason to believe, without that search can't be initiated. So it should indicate the reasons of reasonable belief leading to the search. Search warrant should contain the following details. That is, first, what violation has been done, that is the violation under the act which has led to such search. Then the premises to be searched. Then name and the designation of the person authorized for the search. Who is authorized for the search? Of the person authorized for search, who is conducting the search basically. Then the name of the issuing officer with full designation along with his round seal, the one who is authorizing, that is the JC or above rank authority. And the third point is for who is conducting the search, the name and the designation of the person authorized for the search. Then fifth point, the date and the place of issue, that is the date and place of issue of search warrant. So serial number of search warrant and the period of the validity, that is a day or 2 day. Then the serial number of the search. Then the validity of the search warrant, that is valid for 1 day, 2 day, or etc. How many days it is valid for. So what all should be the content? Basically, it is a written document. Written authority to conduct the search is generally called a search warrant. The content of that should be, they should specify the violation, which violation has been done under the act, the premises to be searched, the date and the place, the officer who is conducting the search, that is the name and the designation of the authorized officer, person authorized for search. Then the name of the issuing authority along with a round seal, full designation along with a round seal, and a serial number of such warrant, of the search warrant, and the period of the validity, that is the day or the 2. Then the last point in this section 67 is safeguard provided for in respect of the search or seizure. So what all are the safeguard provided? Certain safeguards are provided in section 67 of the CGST Act in respect of any power of any search or the seizure. These are as follows. First, seized goods or the document should not be retained beyond the period necessary for their examination. See, beyond the period which they are necessary for, which they are required for their examination, beyond that period, the goods which have been seized cannot be kept. Then the inventory of the seized goods shall be made by the seizing officer. The one who is seizing the goods should maintain the inventory of the goods. See, that inventory A, B, C, D, E, F, G, this all goods have been seized. They should maintain the inventory. In first point they are given is that it should not be retained for the period beyond which they are required for their examination. Then it should inventory should be maintained. And the third point is provision of the Code of Civil Procedure Code of Criminal Procedure 1973 CRPC relating to the search and the seizure shall apply. So CRPC Code of Criminal Procedure will apply in this case, that is in this inspection, investigation, search, seizure thing. However, one important modification is in relation to subsection 5 of 165 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. Instead of sending the copies of the record made in course of search to the nearest, instead of sending the copies of the records made in course of the search, the one records which have been made during the search, that is all the records what has been seized and all thing, instead of sending it to the nearest magistrate empowered to take the cognizance of any offences, so instead of sending to the nearest magistrate empowered for the cognizance of an offences, in GST it has to be sent to the principal commissioner and commissioner of the CGST. In GST it is different, that is principal commissioner, and in code of criminal procedure they are given is to the nearest magistrate to take the cognizance of any offenses, So with this we are done with section 68. It was a little lengthy section, but an interesting and an easy section as well. Okay, so in next video we'll cover 68, 70, 71 and so on. Thank you for watching the video.